Hey, let's talk about complex numbers today. Okay, what's a complex number? So some quadratic equations have no real number solutions. For example, x squared plus 1 equals 0. Okay, for this to have a solution, x squared would have to equal negative 1. And since there's no real number x that can be squared to make negative 1, there can be no real solution to this problem. Okay, so what do? Well, somebody got the idea to create a whole new set of numbers, and they defined the number I to equal the square root of negative 1. And we get a whole nother set of numbers called imaginary numbers that we can use to solve real solutions, okay, or problems that have no real solutions. So I is going to equal the square root of negative 1, which means I squared is negative 1, because this times itself would be negative 1. I cubed would be I squared times I, so that'd be negative 1 times I, which would be negative I. I to the fourth power would be I squared times I squared, which would be negative 1 times negative 1, which is just 1. And then it just starts over after that. I to the fifth would be I to the fourth, which would be 1 times I. So that's going to be this, I to the sixth, I to the seventh, I to the eighth, and so on forever. Okay? Okay, so find the solutions to x squared equals negative 3. So what we would do is we would square root both sides of this thing, and we would get x would equal plus or minus the square root of negative 3, which what we're going to do is we're going to take the I out of that thing and just leave square root of 3 like that. Okay, so that's going to be my answer, plus or minus I times the square root of 3. Basically, if you're going to square root a negative number, it's just going to be whatever the square root of the positive number is with an I on the front. Okay, a complex number is a number that has both a real component and an imaginary component. So they look like this, a plus bi. This is the real part right here. This is the imaginary part right here. And together they make a complex number. Okay, you can add or subtract those really easy. All you do is you add or subtract the real part, and you add or subtract the complex part. So in this, we got 4 plus 5 would be 9, and we've got 2i plus negative 3i would be negative I. So that'd be 9 minus I. Okay, here we've got 2 minus negative 6, that would be 2 plus 6 would be 8. And then negative 5 minus negative 4 would be negative 5 plus 4, or I'm sorry, negative 5i plus 4i would be negative I again. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so let's have you practice these real quick. So pause the video, work these out, and then jump back on and let's see how you did. Okay, so you should go 3 plus 2 would be 5, and then negative I plus 3i would be plus 2i. And you're done with that one. Okie doke. How about, all right, 2i plus negative 4 minus 2i. So I can combine the 2i and the negative 2i. That's going to be 0. This is just going to be negative 4. Okay, now here's what I like to do with this, is I like to distribute that negative in there because I'm less likely to make a mistake. So that'd be 3 plus 2 minus 3i minus 5 plus I. Okay, now just combine your like terms. So 3 plus 2 is 5, minus 5 is 0. Negative 3i plus I would equal negative 2i. So here I combine two complex numbers. I got another complex number. Here I combine two complex numbers. I got a real number. And here I combined 3 complex numbers, and I got an imaginary number. Okay, oops, forgot a multiplication sign there. Okay, so multiplying them. All right, so here I've got I times negative 3i. That's going to be negative 3i squared. But I squared is negative 1, so this is negative 3 times negative 1, which is just 3. Okay, I times 4 plus 3i. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to distribute the I in here. So I times 4 would be 4i, and that would be plus 3i squared. We already know 3i squared. That's going to be 3 times negative 1. So this is going to be negative 1. We usually put the real number first. Whoops. It's going to be negative 3 plus 4i. You don't have to put this number first, but that's standard form when you do that. Okay, what about this one? Okay, you're going to FOIL this, just like you would a binomial. So you're going to go first, outside, inside, last. Okay, so first would be 8. Outside would be 6i. Inside would be negative 4i. And last would be negative I times 3i would be negative 3i squared. Okay, so the negative 3i squared, that's negative 3 times negative 1. That's going to be 3. So I'm going to combine that with my 8, and I'm going to get 11. And then 6i minus 4i is plus 2i. So that's how you do that. Okay, pretty simple. I'll get you an assignment. Have a good day with that. Talk to you later.